Hey guys, welcome to the Tough Puff. Daniel here. Today we are gonna do a tournament because it's Friday. This time I'm picking Legacy for the tournament. And the deck I'm going with is Hovertoxin. So if you guys don't know, Hovertoxin is Dustin Zimmerman's creation that he got top 4 with, losing I believe to Jason Klasinski in 2013 at the Pokemon World Championships. This deck is very strong. It's kind of just Sableye Garb. I know Sableye Garb was like a huge thing this year in Expanded with Puzzle of Time coming out. People were afraid of it. This is essentially that, like the early stages of it. So what we have here is the general idea is to use Sableye to spam Junk Hunt every turn to get out all of these differing items we have in here, and then to use your Garb. You have Trubbish here with Garbage Collection, pretty much the same attack as Sableye, but it's any card. And it goes on top of your deck instead of in your hand. And then we have Garbodor with a Garbodor, hence Hovertoxin. If this Pokemon has a Pokemon Tool card attached to it, each Pokemon in play in each player's hand and in each player's discard pile has no abilities except for Garbodor. So this means that you're shutting off Darkrai's Dark Cloak ability, and you can take off energies using Crushing Hammer from Darkrai. So the format back then, I believe, was Gothitelle, Darkrai EX, Blastoise, and a bunch of Plasma. So how this deck worked was you would go Junk Hunt, get back Crushing Hammer, use Crushing Hammer, take energies off Darkrai, have Floatstone on your Garb, Pokemon Catcher, bring up a Pokemon that they can't attack with, such as a Keldeo versus Darkrai, and then just keep taking all their energies off and poisoning whoever you brought up, so that eventually they get knocked out, or you don't knock them out, and you catcher up another Pokemon as soon as the one Pokemon's about to get knocked out, and eventually, once they're out of energies, you can just Night Spear away to take all 6 prizes. Now, another way to win with this deck, and the more common way in Expanded, is by decking your opponent out. So people aren't too privy to how this deck works at first, especially back in 2013 when Dustin kind of innovated it. So what they would do is they'd burn all their resources to knock out Sableye, knock out Sableye, knock out Sableye, eventually realizing that with Life Dew, Sableye was just always going to, Sableye was always going to be there, and he was always going to give up, like, 0 prizes. So it was very tough for people to sort of, to catch on to the idea in Game 1, and then it was too late. Then they just lost, and there's nothing they could do about it because they had like 4 cards left in deck and they couldn't really answer another Sableye because they had no more resources left. So that's how the deck works. Now we have Sneasel here. Dustin ran a Sneasel back in 2013. I forget what his reasoning was. I think he said it was for something very specific. It does 10 and the defending Pokemon can't retreat. Now how Dustin used it, I believe he said it was for Gothitelle. It was just in case he ended up facing a Gothitelle deck that he could use Corner on the Gothitelle so that it was stuck active. But I believe that deck played like 4 Switch. So Dustin, like, kind of, his Sneasel idea was kind of not as strong as he intended, I believe. But in Legacy, I find it very strong because what happens is once your opponent plays all their Switch, you can catcher up a Pokemon that they normally wouldn't want active or that couldn't attack, and you use Corner on it. And then hopefully, because you can say it's Keldeo EX, and you're playing against Rayquaza Electric. Your opponent runs out of Switch because they play like all 4 of them or all 5 of them and all their junk arms, getting out their Eel after you keep catching it. They keep switching out, and then they're out of Switch. You catcher up the Keldeo, Corner. You can Corner 17 times before the Keldeo gets knocked out. Now, I don't know about you guys, but usually I don't always have Switch in hand without playing a supporter, which means I would have to play a supporter most turns in order to keep spamming Switch versus this deck. Now, that means that your deck's going to start thinning out. So if you have 17 cards left in deck by the time I knock out your Keldeo, then good for you, you could probably end up finishing out the game. But if you have like 10 cards left in deck, I'm going to deck you out before you can retreat your Keldeo. And since you can only attach 1 energy to it at a time, since all you're playing is, basic energies, not really any DCE, and I can keep Crushing Hammering, whatever, you're kind of stuck up there, and there's absolutely nothing you can do except watch yourself lose. So I did this versus a Virizion Genesect deck recently. I just kept spamming corner on a Smeargle that they brought up, and they had no switches left, so the Smeargle was stuck active, couldn't even use Tail Wrap, because their energies were all devoted to 2 different Genesects. And I just whittled away at their Genesects and at their deck until they had nothing. So that's how good Sneasel could be. That was a pretty long explanation on a tech card. And we also have an Apom, Tail Code. Move an energy card attached to the defending Pokemon to another your opponent's Pokemon. So Apom's in here sort of for the same reason as Sneasel. Like, you use Tail Code, you move an energy off of one guy, put it onto someone that can't use it. Or if they have a Prism attached and they have like a stage 1 or a stage 2 on their bench, you could like Tail Code, move the energy to one of those guys. So the Prism gets forced into the discard. Though Enhanced Hammer also does the same job. I don't know how good the Apom is. I haven't really tested it too much, but I know that this deck as a whole is very strong. And items of choice, we have 4 Crushing Hammer. I'm pretty sure Dustin ran 3. He might have had 4. 1 Dark Patch, just because we could keep using Junk Hunt to get back the Dark Patch to put energies from our discard onto our Sableye and our Darkrai, because any card in the discard, any energy in the discard can now be hunted out with Dark Patch. So it kind of just, keeps us utilizing our resources over and over again. Energy Search to keep getting energies out of the deck. Enhanced Hammer, 2 of them for Plasma. This normally would be Lost Remover, but I don't have any on this account, so if anyone wants to help me out with that, comment. 3 Hypnotoxic Laser, and 2 Burbank City Gym, just to put the hurt on our opponent while they're stuck not being able to attack. Pokemon Catcher, 4 of them, to keep bringing up Pokemon our opponent doesn't want active. 2 Random Receiver, because we can Junk Hunt for it, so we always have a supporter whenever we don't. 1 Super Rod to shuffle in our Pokemon, so basically we never deck out, because as long as we have Super Rod and Ultra Ball, we can keep discarding Pokemon and Super Rodding them back in the deck, so we always have at least 1 card. A Switch, because if you can't switch your Garb here when they take off the Float Stone and Catcher it active, you're going to lose. So we have a Switch. We have Tool Scrapper here. Tool Scrapper is to take off tools such as Dark Claw, Floatstone off our opponent. And it's also very good versus Tool Drop, which isn't really a deck, and this should auto-win Tool Drop anyways, but Tool Scrapper's in here for the Floatstone reason, especially against Keldeos. Ultra Ball, that's an obvious one. 3 Floatstone. Dustin, I think, played 4 back in his list, but I think 3 is sufficient to keep your Garb going. I haven't had a problem with it thus far. 1 Silver Mirror to keep getting back with Junk Hunt to attach to Sableye so that Plasma can't touch it while we slowly discard all their cards. This card was released right after Dustin got top 4. Plasma Blast was the set that came out after Worlds. So that's the whole reason we run Silver Mirror. He didn't get a chance to, but we do. And a Life Dew, so that we can keep spamming Life Dew on Sableye, so that our opponent takes 1 less prize, which is 0 prizes, every time they knock out our Sableye. Now, a couple things about this list is that we don't run Junk Arm. I think having more of these items to actually get them out is more important than having Junk Arm. I could see 1 Junk Arm to always Junk Hunt for it, so we could get Life Dew every single turn. But any more than that would kind of be bad. So if you want to try it, just play 1 and then bring it up as you see fit. Juniper, 4 of them, and 4 of them. This deck kind of plays from behind. Dustin said so himself in an interview with the Top Cut way back when. How this works is normally they exhaust all their resources knocking out Sableyes, and then late game you just run them out of stuff. So you can end them down, get rid of their energy, and then they might not have another one. And then by the time they do, it's a little too late. So 4 ends pretty important in here. Arguably more important than anything else. 2 Skyla to search out some of our 1-ofs here. Because otherwise we normally probably wouldn't even see them in a game. And a Getsis. Dustin said he ran Getsis because early game, it could win the game by just stopping your opponent in their tracks and giving you a chance to set up. In late game, it's still pretty good, but you don't need to play it because by late game you already have enough control that if you discard the Getsis, it's not such a big deal, but if you play it, you just put them in even more of a poor position. So 1 Getsis is sufficient. even with no VS Seeker. So that's the deck. Let's go start up a tournament. I'll meet you guys in game 1. Alright guys, so we just made it into a game. I saw Water, Dark, Psychic, and I believe Colorless, so it looks like it might just be either another Sableye deck or just plain old Darkrai Garb. So we'll see. Looking at our hand, it's not bad. We can Ultra Ball away the Scrapper and the other Ultra Ball. Get a Trubbish. Yeah, this is looking to be just a regular Darkrai deck. So we can Ultra Ball away the Ultra Ball and the Scrapper, get a Trubbish, put the Floatstone on Trubbish, play Skyla for a Laser or whatever item we might need depending on his start. And we could, or rather, we could Random Receiver, hit either a Juniper or a N. Alright, so we actually hit the Trubbish. So I'm going to play the Trubbish, put the Floatstone. I'll play the Random Receiver just to see what I get. We got N. I don't want to give him a card, so I'm going to play Ultra Ball. Get rid of that. I'll grab another Sableye to put on my bench in case this one happens to get knocked out. I also could have just saved the Ultra Ball for a turn and gotten a Trubbish. And I'm not gonna devote an energy to any Sableye yet in case one of them gets catchered or something. But I will Skyla for a Life Dew if it's in here, and put the Life Dew on my active Sableye in case he gets knocked out. Because it's always possible for Darkrai, straight Darkrai, to get a turn 1 90. So we'll throw the Life Dew on our active and then we'll pass. Now my opponent knows I have an N in hand, so that's kind of the downside of playing Random Receiver. Another downside is that my opponent now can use Portrait because of the knowledge of N. They'll be more prone to doing so, but I feel that was the safer thing to do because if it was a Juniper, I may have just played it. Alright, Laser Heads and a Juniper, getting rid of Chorus and a Dark. So he already attached. He would need like a triple Dark Patch or 2 Dark Patches and an Energy Switch to Night Spear this turn, but he put me to sleep and played a Laser, which is pretty annoying. Hypnotoxic Laser is really annoying against this deck. Just because putting your Sableye to sleep and keeping your Sableye asleep means you get 1 less turn to Junk Hunt. And that's also where the Switch can come in handy. And also where 2 might be even better. But for now, I appreciate the 1. We hit a Floatstone here. I don't think we play it. We'll just go for an N. What we want off this N is Crushing Hammer, Garb. Wow. Insane. So, play the Hammer. Hopefully heads. We'll take energy off the active because we don't want him retreating. Play Laser to hopefully put him to sleep. Tails. And we'll get out Garb so he can't use his little Dark Cloak. But he could still attach Floatstone, which kind of stinks, but that's fine. Now if we were to Junk Hunt, we could get back Crushing Hammer and Laser. Receiver, we have one in hand, Ultra Ball. So we'll probably Junk Hunt for the Crushing Hammer and the Ultra Ball. Okay. This deck requires a lot of thought, and it's really annoying, and this probably was a horrible choice for the tournament because like all my games are going to go to time, and this video is probably going to be like an hour long, but that's fine. You guys get to see this awesome deck in action. So my opponent did end up getting the Floatstone. It might have been a misplay not getting back the Tool Scrapper. I didn't really predict the Floatstone being that big a deal. Alright, and my opponent played a Getsis, so I didn't expect that either. I mean, you can't really prepare for these things. So he's going to get the knockout here, probably put 30 on the Garb, yeah. And I'm going to have to play Getsis to recover. I'll be giving him a prize next turn, no matter what. But what I can do is hopefully keep him asleep with a Laser. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Get this isn't safe here. I just have to play Juniper and hope that I can keep him asleep or something. Alright. Alright, that kind of sucks. So we'll put the energy here. Ultra Ball Juniper and this Enhanced Hammer. So we have it in our discard because we did see a double colorless and a darkness energy, special darkness, whatever it's called. And I'm thinking we'll grab a Sableye. It might actually be better just to grab the Trubbish because we do want to be safe from our Garb getting knocked out, and we can just grab another Ultra Ball. So I'll Junk Hunt here, and I'll put in Crushing Hammer. This is a tricky one. I'll just go for the Life Dew. No, I don't want to put it back in my deck. I'll go for the Ultra Ball. Now, because what I could have done is I could have grabbed the Life Dew, and then if he catches my Garb, I could put the Life Dew on Sableye. But the chances of him catching my Garb are kind of slim because I dropped another Trubbish. So, like, this Garb's kind of pretty safe now. So I just grabbed the Ultra Ball so I can, like, guarantee I get a Sableye out. And if I got the Life Dew, I would have either discarded it before being able to get another Sableye out. Because I wouldn't have had the Ultra Ball. Or I would have shuffled it in with N, in which it would be really hard to get out again. So I think he attached the Darkness energy there. Yeah. Alright, so the goal here is get out Sableye, flip heads on some of these Crushings, make sure this Darkrai can't touch us. I want to play the other Crushing, but I kind of have to Ultra Ball here. His hand's too big, so I gotta play N. If I can somehow hit another Crushing, or a Verbank, not a Verbank, but a Laser, and we didn't. And we don't even get the Junk Hunt. So, I'm going to play Verbank, just to keep myself safe. Drop Darkrai here. Treat to the, think to the Darkrai. Pass. The reason I retreated to the Darkrai was because I don't want any of my bench guys to get knocked out. He attached the Darkness energy, so I could always Enhanced Hammer it if I have to. He's not really wasting any resources. So this is going to be kind of scary. Laser, he's going to do 120, put my Garb at 90. He'll have plenty of damage all on my board. Yeah, this is going to be a tough game. Get out the other Garb. So we're going to play Sneasel, play a random receiver, hopefully hit a Juniper. And so we'll play switch into the Float Stone. Play N. Okay, cool. So, we will Super Rod here to guarantee there's an energy in my deck. And we're giving him 2 knockouts here. So we're going to go ahead and Junk Hunt for, I believe, a Float Stone if we have one. So we can get this other Garb set up. Alright, we don't. So we're just gonna go with 2 crushings, I think. Oops, that's not it. Or crushing and enhanced. Where's the enhanced? So that we're guaranteed at least getting the darkness energy, and we may get another dark off. And we could just Skyla for Floatstone if we really have to. Our draws have been sort of poor, and obviously this is not the easiest matchup. And our opponent's playing it smart. But yeah, this deck's very susceptible to Getsis, which wasn't a very big card back when the deck was played. It's very susceptible to obviously to N, shuffling in the 2 cards you get. But one thing the deck has going for it is that one thing the deck definitely has going for it is that, like I said before, it kind of comes back. So I'm gonna like play the Sableye, enhanced off these 2 energies. I could Apom if I have to. So the deck comes back from behind. Like once my opponent plays, you know, his end, you know, he plays his cute little Getsis, it still like gives me a chance to stay in the game. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna tail code that energy over to the other Darkrai, and kind of hope my opponent has no Floatstone for this other Darkrai, his active. Then next turn I can retreat and start junk hunting again. So we'll see what my opponent ends up doing. Honestly, obviously a good form of energy removal is getting a knockout. So if I can knock out both of these Darkrai's, I pretty much am removing all my opponent's energy. He's just going to manually retreat here. I don't know why I didn't think about that. Oops. Like, I could have cornered him, but... Wow. I could have cornered him, but that wouldn't have done anything because he had 2 energies on him. I can't set up Darkrai in 1 turn to attack. So I gotta bench this Darkrai, play the Juniper, go ham. Hope to take all this guy's energies off. Yeah, my Darkrai's gonna get knocked out next turn. Alright, so we have some hope here. If we can crushing off 2 energies. Oh. Come on. Yeah, we probably lose here. So I think we catch her the Sableye. My opponent played really smart. He only benched these 3 so that I didn't catch her around to his other guys. So this guy definitely knows what he's doing against this deck. And that's not like what makes the deck so good, is that people don't know what to do. It's mostly just that they can't do anything. But this guy has pretty much had like an answer every time. I think I just grabbed crushing and an enhanced to hopefully keep us in the game for a turn longer. So we'll see what happens with this. Yeah. Okay. So if I can get an energy, I can corner. this little Sableye here. He has 2 patches now, which is kind of annoying. So we will hammer. Hopefully take an energy off this one. Tails. That's annoying. Yeah, I don't see how we can win here. No matter what I do, he has an answer to it. So oh wait. He only has 1 dark in his discard. So I mean, if I send up this guy, I could be spared. He could easily just have another energy in his hand though. But that's our only hope, is send him up. Maybe flip heads on. No, I'll just go for the junk hunt. Yeah, like we're really we're really out of options here. Because we don't have another N or something to bring him down to 2 cards. Like, if we had an N, we'd be fine. But all game, I've kind of been, like, a tough position. And this is obviously one of the decks that gives Sableye trouble, is this Darkrai deck here. Okay, yeah, so he did have the energy. Alright guys, so that's the deck. We got trashed round 1 of this tournament to a pretty unfavorable matchup and a good player. So, thanks for watching.